Yo, 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 it's your boy, back at it like a bass addict, as always. Welcome back to the channel. Today, gonna do a little bit of a different video. Been pumping out the fishing content, been doing the informational videos, sharing some of my favorite baits. So I hope y'all have been enjoying that content, but today we're gonna get a little more personal and just share my own story of how I got into bass fishing, how I fell in love with bass fishing, and what has kind of brought me to this insane addiction that kind of takes over my life. So if you want to hear that story, please stay along. Might be a little long-winded, but it's kind of just my journey to where I am now. It's been a long one, so without further ado, we'll get into it. I started out probably like a lot of other anglers, really just fishing for bluegill. My grandpa took me out when I was, I think, 3 years old. Probably didn't have much of an attention span, but you go out with a bobber and a little worm and a split shot and a little ultralight pole, and you just feel something tugging on your line. That's the quickest way to get a kid's attention. So that kind of intrigued me at such a young age, and we would go fishing. My uncle and my dad fished as well, but my grandpa was really the one that got me into it. So he would take me out. We go catch bluegill and crappie and red ears, and occasionally we catch some largemouth on a night crawler or something like that. But it was really super simple. There wasn't much of a technique to it. I mean, we got a little more detail later on, tight lining and taking the bobber off and stuff like that, but no artificials for a long time. But then I started seeing stuff on TV. You know, you see the Bassmaster Classic used to come on late, and I would stay up watching that. You see Bill Dance and Roland Martin, the shows on late night, ESPN2, and all these random channels. So that would always catch my attention. And then the YouTube era kind of got going, and I started watching some of these small YouTubers just fishing at ponds or on their local lakes and beating the bank, and it was just super relatable. So that kind of caught my attention and intrigued my interest in wanting to do something different and chase a different fish. So I kind of started looking into gear, bugging my grandpa, bugging my mom, my dad, to kind of invest in me a little bit, give me some stuff for my birthday. My grandpa bought me my first combo. I think it was Abu Garcia Vendetta with a Black Max, so black and red, matching setup. And to me, that was expensive at the time. Now it's like crazy looking back. That was like the low end of gear standards for bass fishermen, but for me that was like super cool. I think my first bait or artificial that I caught a bass on was a Zoom brush hog, so just standard Texas rig. Didn't really know what I was doing, but just fishing on the Delta, throwing a brush hog, throwing a rattle trap, square bill. Those are some of those baits that got me into it. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there. My camera's tripping a little bit, but yeah, some of those baits that were kind of my entry into bass fishing. And then one of my dad's old friends from high school, Josh Kaneko, he was heavy into bass fishing. He was fishing some tournaments, and so my dad and my uncle hooked me up with him. He took me out on his boat and on the Delta, and I got to smash on some fish. We were just throwing, I think I just threw a red-eye shad and a red craw pretty much all day, and just caught a bunch of shakers, but it was something new. And I think really what intrigued me most about bass fishing was just the puzzle that it was. It wasn't just so simple as a hook and a worm. It was like there's an endless amount of baits that you can catch a fish on. You're imitating so many different forages that these bass are eating, And that was so cool to me to be able to like have this wide range of things that I could imitate. And on any given day, you never know what these fish are gonna eat. So that was really what got me into it. And I slowly just started building up my gear. Over time, I didn't really have much money. I didn't have a job as a young kid. I wasn't cutting lawns or anything, so it was really just birthday money, some allowance money here and there. Whenever I got that, and I would just try and stack up stuff. I didn't really know too much about what I was buying. It was just like what I saw on YouTube, what other anglers were catching fish on. I would buy some of that stuff. A lot of it was hype, but I didn't know any better. So I just started filling up my tackle box, filled up one 3600, then a second, then got my second bait cast combo, then I got a spinning combo for throwing, you know, more finesse stuff, and you just start building up that arsenal. And really, YouTube University, shout out to YouTube, was the main way that I learned. Of course, I had some mentors along the way who taught me some stuff, but I didn't really have access to too many boats. A lot of the people that I knew that had boats were busy fishing tournaments, or they had, you know, their own kids that they're taking out. So for me, it was really just beating the bank for a long time by myself with my grandpa, with my homie at some small ponds, and just putting in that work, trying to gain some knowledge. So all the way through high school, I was just fishing, and I couldn't drive, so you know, someone had to drop me off at the lake, and I would fish all day and then come home. Then I went off to college, and luckily there was a lake down the hill. I went to UC Santa Cruz, and there was a small lake down the hill, or a couple lakes down the hill from the campus. So I couldn't take my rods on the bus because none of them were two-piece, and they had like this weird restriction. So I had to hop on my bike, hold like 6 rods, because I always brought too much shit, still do to this day, but holding like 6 rods in my hands while I'm holding the handlebars, smashing down this hill to go catch some largies at these ponds. And so I just kept that fire going all the way through college. That was really like, whenever I had a rough week, or like finals week came and I was stuck inside studying and taking tests, and like all that would end, and I'd be like, man, I gotta get outside. I'd be all pale, and I would just go hit the ponds, catch some fish, and that would bring me back. So fishing has always been that thing for me that I could go to. Either I'm dealing with some stuff mentally, like deaths in the family, whatever's going on, I can always rely on fishing. So it carried me through some stuff. And then when I graduated college, I think that was when I really was able to like start building up my gear, and finally got a stable job coming out of college. So started buying some more rods, getting more dialed in with my gear, not just buying stuff because it was hype, but buying stuff because I knew that it worked and it applied to my fishing. So doing that, and then when the pandemic hit, we ended up getting hazard pay. So like, I think I got a $5 boost per hour for working. And so that was how I was able to buy my kayak. And once I got the kayak, like, it was a wrap. Like, I was out there, I was able to cover just way more water than I ever have before, see new places, like the sides of the lake that I could never fish from the bank. I was able to hit that, catch bigger fish, and that's kind of where the journey's taken me. And now I'm here, and fishing tournaments as well. I think I fished some tournaments back in like high school. That same guy Josh, he would take me out sometimes and fish those bank tournaments on the Delta. The Bass Anglers of Northern California is just a local, small little bass club. A lot of dope dudes, a lot of old heads, a lot of knowledge. So I would go fish those sometimes just for fun. But 2022, I think, was really my first year fishing tournaments seriously, and hopped on with my boy Jesse. Shout out to him. He really kind of put his life on hold a little bit. He's a busy guy. He got a family and a job, but we grinded the New Gen team circuit that whole year, fishing Clear Lake a lot, fishing the Delta a little bit. And so that was my first time really jumping into the tournament stuff, and got to compete, got to kind of test my skills against some really good Northern California anglers. And that was really just some confirmation that I know what I'm doing. Like, I might not be the best, but I know how to catch some fish. I know how to catch some big fish. I know how to compete. And I really started to get that bug. So in addition to the bass fishing addiction, that addiction to compete, and that feeling tournament morning, like hearing everybody's motors firing up, and the dock talk, and the suspense of just like, well, we had a good practice, we had a shitty practice, but it's tournament day and anything can happen. So let's go sack a bag. And so that's kind of put me where I am now. I'm still fishing tournaments, fishing a lot more as a co-angler now, not so much doing the team tournament stuff, but fishing as a co-angler out of the back of the boat. So learning a lot from some experienced guys, and learning some tricks of the trade. A lot of these dudes have been around for a long time fishing tournaments, so I'm just trying to soak it all in and learn what I can, and then I'm giving it back to y'all. But I think we'll keep it there. I don't want to go too long, but yeah, my bass fishing addiction goes back a long ways, and it'll go on probably until I die. So don't plan on cutting that off anytime soon. It's really like the safest space for me whenever I gotta get away, whenever life is doing me dirty. I gotta get out on the water, and I try to fish every week. Whenever I miss a week, I start itching, start scratching, missing my fix. So yeah, that's my story. It's not too crazy of a story, but I thought y'all might want to hear kind of how I got here and what inspired me to get into bass fishing. So if you have a similar story, share it in the comments, or if you have a completely different story, share it in the comments. We'd love to hear it. But I know a lot of people have similar stories and unique stories about how they got into fishing, and it's but for all of us, it's just something we love to do, and something that kind of gets us away from all the bullshit happening in the world. So yeah, I'm gonna keep fishing. I hope y'all keep fishing. I hope y'all keep tuning into the content, and as always, I'll catch you on the next one.